In this lesson, I'm going to share the #1 thing that holds guitarists back from being able to improvise with endless creativity and how to fix it, so stick around. Sometimes with the guitar, it can feel like we're solving some kind of jigsaw puzzle or making our way through a labyrinth. It can be confusing to see the path ahead or the options that we have available to us at any given time in any given area. And the crux of this issue really lies in one simple thing, and it's that most people, especially toward the beginning of their guitar playing journey, don't quite realize that with the guitar, you have to be able to know how to do the same thing in multiple different ways, especially if your goal is to be able to be a soloist who can improvise and flow around the fretboard. This situation is quite different than some other instruments like the piano, for example. Let's take a look at this keyboard, and even if you have no idea how to play the piano, it's all good. You can clearly see that if I want to play a C major triad, it's going to be the exact same form no matter where I am on the keys. Now contrast this with the guitar. There can be over 6 different forms we have to know for the exact same thing, like this for example. This is a C major chord, this is a C major chord, so is this, and you get the idea. This is because if you take a look at a keyboard, you'll realize that there's only one of each note. That's it. So once you know where middle C is, that's it. You're good. You know where it is, and from there you can find that form for a triad or a minor chord or whatever you want to build. It's way easier to find. Contrast that with the layout of the fretboard of a guitar, and you'll start to realize that not only do we have to juggle like 6 different rows of keyboards, but they're all starting in different places, which on one hand may seem really overwhelming and confusing, and how on earth do we work around that, or how will we ever learn all these notes? But rest assured, because this seemingly complex layout is the very thing that gives guitar its greatest strengths. Its movability. We're able to learn a pattern or a shape and move it around regardless of the key we're playing in, and we have unlimited expressiveness because of this. To address this and to really start to increase our vision of the fretboard, I'm going to show you a couple really simple examples that you can work on and some exercises you can do with it. And in the description of this video, you'll find a link to a free comprehensive worksheet that'll help you improve the situation immediately. I've created a threefold system to really help us increase our vision and versatility on the guitar, and it really hinges around having, let's say, a target note like the root of a chord as an axis point, and then being able to do things behind that axis, on top of it, and in front of it. And I'll show you just what I mean right here. To set this all up, we're going to keep it really simple. We're going to do a few different iterations of a major triad, a couple different iterations of a minor triad, and then major pentatonic and minor pentatonic. There's so much of music is built off of these really fundamental building blocks, so it's in our best interest to have a really deep understanding of these fundamentals so we can build out from there and really leverage our practice and our time. First thing we'll do is map out a C major triad in 3 different iterations. We're going to use one where we start with the pinky finger, another one where we start with the middle finger, and another one where we start with the index finger. And the reason for this is if we start a triad with our pinky finger, it's going to give us access to this part of the fretboard that's kind of behind or to the left of the axis, which is right here with our tonic of the chord. When we play with the middle finger, what that does is it gets us right over top the axis, and we're able to hit this area a little more effectively. Then if we start with the index finger, now we've opened up this part of the fretboard that's to the right of the axis, and it really just creates this potential to be able to flow effortlessly between all 3 of those zones. We're going to do that same process with a minor triad and with major and minor pentatonic. From there, the sky's the limit, and you can apply this idea to just about anything. So let's start with the major triad here. We're going to have pinky finger on the low E string on the 8th fret, and it's going to go like this. We're going to have one note on the E string playing the root. The 3rd is going to be played on the A string. The 5th is going to be played on the D string right there. Next, we're going to play the same thing with the middle finger playing the root. We're only going to have one note on this string, but now the next string is going to have 2 notes. It's going to have the 3rd and the 5th like that. The next iteration, we'll start with the index finger. Now we're going to have 2 notes on this string. We go up a major 3rd and then go to the 5th. Let's do the same thing for minor triads. We're going to start with the pinky finger again. And now think about it. If our major 3rd was here, all we have to do is flatten the 3rd and we'll have minor triads. So we start here, 1 note, minor 3rd, and 5th. So 1 note per string. Let's use the ring finger as the root. We're going to have 2 notes on the next string, the minor third, and then we go up to the 5th. And finally, we'll use the index finger, same idea, but this time we have 2 notes on the root string. We go up to the minor third, and then we go to the 5th. Let's put the metronome on 60 beats per minute, and I'm just going to go through that. I'll go up and down the triad, move to the next fingering, and we'll do that progressively through the 3 iterations of major and then the 3 iterations of minor triads. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now minor. Hopefully already you could hear a little bit of the difference between those different versions. Even though the notes are all the same and we're playing the same thing technically, the timbre of the strings is a little different with each different version, and each one has a little something to offer that's unique to itself. We're going to do a couple more things with this. Let's start with the pinky finger doing a major pentatonic run, then we're going to do middle finger, index finger, then we'll do the same process for minor pentatonic. Let's set it up like this. We're going to do a C major pentatonic, starting with the pinky finger on the low E string on the 8th fret. We'll end up going like this. Let's play the same thing, but start with the middle finger so we're on top of the axis instead of to the left of it. Next, start with the index finger, and what you're going to see here is now I'm going to be inspired to slide up to the 3rd note in the scale, like this. Slide down, and then back. Of course, you don't have to do a slide there, but the main point I want to get across here is that each one of these different versions offers a little bit of a different approach and a bit of a different sound. Next, we're going to do the same process, but with a minor pentatonic run. We're going to start with the pinky finger on the low E string, 8th fret, same root note, and that's our axis again. We're going to go to the left of it first, like this. The next version, we'll start with the ring finger, and we'll end up with a little slide move here. Slide down, like that. Now with the index finger, we could just stay in this area, thinking of our first position of the minor pentatonic scale, but to really emphasize the ability to kind of flow behind the axis or to the left of it, on top of it, and to the right, I'm going to purposely put in a slide to the right just so you can see how we can expand our range a little bit here. So let's start with index finger, 8th fret, low E string. Slide. Back down. Now that you have kind of the layout of everything, let's do it as an exercise. We'll go back to the metronome at 60 beats per minute. First, we'll do the 3 different versions of the major pentatonic we looked at. Then we'll do the same thing for the minor pentatonic. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Hopefully you get the idea of how many different expressions of those different versions you can come up with, and it's infinite. You could slide into a note, bend into a note, and try those different angles with different fingers starting at the axis that you're looking at. Don't forget to download the free worksheet that's in the description below. It's really thorough. It goes through the major scale starting with the pinky finger, then the middle finger, index finger, and from there then it builds into diads, doing thirds, major and minor thirds, and then triads. So it really is a great daily routine to practice and to start to build your vision and your skills, your dexterity, and to build a fuller picture of the fretboard. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks so much for watching the lesson. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, share the video if you found it helpful, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.